We have some news, though, I wanted to cover.
Yeah,
John.
we have a couple news items.
Well, here's my first news item.
Yeah, please.
Sent this to you recently, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
This is from the PRP.com. P.O.D. Sonny Sandoval. Every time we do a record or play a show, we don't understand why we don't get the same respect as bands who came later. Now, I'm going to open this by saying they do.
As bands who came later, like what? Who does he mean?
Christian nu metal outfit P.O.D. were already a decade into their career when they hit it big with the 1999 major label debut, The Fundamental Elements of Southtown, and its 2001 follow-up. So now we're talking about things that came out.
So he's talking about they started in 1989, but Korn started in 1992 or whatever. Limp Bizkit started in the late 90s. Like, is that what he's saying? That like they were one of the originators, but the Fundamental Elements didn't come out until 99. So what is he talking about?
Yeah, we're supposed to fucking give him credit for what he says he was doing. I mean, they were doing Reggae Jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What?
Wasn't that the thing that they were doing that like they said Reggae Jam and Funk Jam was like actually what they were doing before. And then, so that's what we're supposed to give them credit for that. God,
dude,
son.
I totally forgot that they did have an album come out in 1994 called Snuff the Punk.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And it's
Snuff the Punk. Dude, we got to listen to that at some point. Snuff the Punk.
It's not, and so he's like,
there's no way. It came out in 94, dude. That album sucks. Oh no, there's a song on it called Abortion is Murder. Oh no.
What's it? Korn came out in 94 too, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, listen, you don't get credit. Korn doesn't get credit until the album came out. They don't get credit for Niedermeyer, whatever that EP is.
Niedermeyer's Mind.
Yeah, they don't get credit for that.
No, you don't get credit for saying, "Oh, we formed. We were making music in our garage before Korn even existed." Okay, well, guess what? Korn wasn't in your garage, P.O.D.
Listen to this shit. This is fucking crazy thing for him to say. While System of a Down, Korn, Limp Bizkit, and more still enjoy higher billing on festivals and fill up notable venues, P.O.D., who predate them all, command a far more modest profile on a touring circuit. So why does Sonny Sandoval think seniority means anything? This isn't a fucking union job. You're a fucking musician. Korn is more famous than you. It doesn't matter when you came out. You could have fucking started in 1976. Korn is a bigger band than you. System of a Down, Deftones, they're bigger than you. And you know what? Who is as big as them? You know what I mean? We talk about it all the time. They're like one of the last rock bands. This music is kind of one of the last rock things. And I can't think of, I believe, anything more obvious than P.O.D.'s spot. Like they're in the right spot.
In my opinion,
being underappreciated.
I think P.O.D. overachieved, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say... Yeah, I agree with you. And like, I've been on this podcast saying I like P.O.D. I don't even hate them. Like, you definitely don't like them as much as I do. I think some of their singles are fantastic. Like, I'm not even a P.O.D. hater, but like the quality of their music, and also, and maybe this is kind of what he's driving at, but like, if you are a Christian rock band that's talking constantly about being a Christian rock band and writing songs called Abortion is Murder, then guess what? You're just not going to be as big as a pagan band. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. And listen to this. Listen to his quote. His quote is, "This is fucking nuts." When asked if he was annoyed that his band was originally lumped in with nu metal, I can't think of a Fundamental Elements of Southtown. I can't think of a more nu metal album.
Oh, and Satellite too. Even Satellite. I mean, it's a little more glossy. Like, Satellite is like if a nu metal band heard Incubus. And like it's just like glossy, but it's still nu metal. I mean, you wrote a song from the perspective of a school shooter with a children's chorus singing the bridge. So guess what? You're nu metal, baby.
This fucking article, it goes, despite having carved out their niche in the world of rap rock years prior. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You sold 300 tickets. Do you think when Stuff the Punk was out and they were doing live shows, 4 tickets?
Snuff the Punk was, it doesn't, it didn't chart or anything like that. The only thing on here that it says for legacy is Cleveland Scene noted that the album is one of the earliest nu metal albums, comparable to Korn's self-titled album, which was released the same year.
Okay,
and then
but it's
Brown
not
came out, and it's not a major label. Like it's not like the Snuff the Punk and Brown both came out on Rescue Records, which I think is a Christian label. No, it's a record label created by Wov's dad.
Okay.
So it's not so it's not even so they're not on a major record label. And there's like no evidence. Label. There's no evidence that Snuff the Punk or Brown were like big in any way. It just says that they I'm just looking here quickly at the Wikipedia.
Can I say this as a part of the scene?
We even learned that they turned down record offers. They turned down a $100,000 recording contract from Essential Records because God has a bigger plan for P.O.D.
Yeah, it does. And listen, that Korn album sold stuff in retrospect. That's the other thing too. Like, so you're talking about Snuff the Punk coming out. Korn self-titled, if I'm not mistaken, it was very impressive for a band that just burst out there on the scene. It was an underground album. Korn wasn't. I mean, Adidas comes out, and I think Korn is like medium famous. They weren't like these huge fucking stars when that album came out.
No, definitely not.
And then when Follow Leader comes out, then retroactively those albums become these big things. But people still like the Korn album. I don't think
Korn self-titled didn't even go gold until 1996, and it didn't go platinum until 1997, and then it went double platinum in 1999. So yeah, you're right. It's like people were discovering Follow the Leader and then going back and getting Korn and Life is Peachy. Nobody was listening to Fundamental Elements of Southtown and then going back and being like, I gotta get Snuff the Punk and Brown in my record collection.
Yeah, so here's his actual quote. We're among the pioneers in this game. Every time we do a record or play a show, we don't understand why we don't get the same respect as bands who came later. People might think we've got these big songs, so it's all just money in the bank, but for some reason we missed that boat. Our friends are playing arenas and have money to burn, but here we are proving that you can do it. So when asked how he felt when the genre shot to the top of the charts during its holidays, he added, when we first started, people would look at like, they're heavy, but they're rapping. They must be like Body Count. Then the same thing happened with Rage Against the Machine. Then Limp Bizkit comes out and we're being compared to them. Nu metal was just another name. Before it was rap rock or rapcore, we didn't care because we were just doing it. Now we embrace it. If someone says you're my favorite nu metal band, I'm just happy to be their favorite. This idea, I'll even speak on like the rapcore thing and stuff. Those were just Rage Against the Machine was an alternative rock band. That's what they were considered when they came out. They weren't considered rapcore. Rapcore was an underground, like, precursor to Korn, and it was like, it was like not a big thing. And I just don't know that they are slotted where they should be. And the fact that they don't have money, I don't know what to fucking tell you, dude. You had a shot at a lot of money. I don't know what happened.
Well, but I would also think that, Korn and Limp Bizkit are the reason why P.O.D. have money at all.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you can't say that and say, well, we started before them, so we should have the money. We should be playing the arenas, whatever. Like P.O.D. had legitimate hit songs. Like Alive was a hit song. Youth of the Nation was a hit song. Even Fundamental Elements of Southtown, Boom was a hit song.
Oh God.
Like, Boom is getting licensed and getting, And the video, people loved the video for that, the ping pong video and all that. Like, and I would say, like, without Korn and Limp Bizkit, P.O.D. maybe doesn't even get to releasing those songs because, you know, the nu metal being in the zeitgeist raised P.O.D. up. So, you know, if you're P.O.D. and you, in the year of our Lord 2024, you can sell like 500 tickets to a show in Alabama or whatever, guess what? That's good. And Korn and Limp Bizkit did that for you. They were never even an arena band in their height. Like, what are they expecting? Like, I guess maybe they would have opened for bands in arenas and stuff, or been on like a package tour. Because I think were they on the Linkin Park Hoobastank tour? They were, right? It was Linkin Park, Hoobastank, and P.O.D. I think. So like they would have done like package tours in arenas, but P.O.D. were never like an arena or festival headlining band in their whole career. So what makes him think that they're owed what Korn and Limp Bizkit have now? Korn's been an arena band for almost 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're playing. Actually, I don't know if they're playing. I didn't really check, but they're playing 25,000 seat. I mean, if they're playing festivals, if they're playing festivals, then I don't know. I kind of just don't know what to tell you. Like, you're not going to move up the card, so to speak. And they have oftentimes, and I can't prove this, but I think I'm pretty sure they've been the big, you know, either the biggest or the second biggest name, like size wise on a poster. Yeah. I don't think they're like, I think they should, like, they're in a great place.
Yeah, they're properly.
And I know maybe they're not making as much money or whatever, but they're in the best possible place a nu metal band could be in. Would they rather, like, they could be like Non-Point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's so many nu metal bands that you haven't heard shit from in so long.
Yeah, and
especially Christian ones. Like, where's Blindside right now?
And I just don't understand why you don't get to pick. Like, just because you came first doesn't mean anything, you know. No. And a lot of times, and I don't think they came first. Really, I would say Korn and Deftones were probably, because Korn and Deftones were doing stuff in '92. Yeah, they talk about it. Korn, Deftones,
for sure.
And
well, and even like Korn,
later.
They were in bands before that. Like, I know it didn't sound like Korn, but like LAPD and Sex Art and stuff, like they're around in the late '80s, early '90s. Like, it's not.
Cold Chamber, like Cold Chamber, Incubus. Those bands very famously all played together all the time in California and built the scene. And I'm sure P.O.D. was part of that.
Yeah,
but I don't think I've heard their names. They seem weirdly to me antisocial, especially with this article. But I get it. You know, you make something, you think you invented it, which is crazy. Like taking a ownership of a genre of music that was already happening before you even got involved in it is just, I can't imagine the ego to say I invented this music and then be like, I deserve to be at the top of the bill. So that was my first story. And then my next one is, somebody sent us obviously we like to look at festivals on here.
Is this the incarceration lineup for this year? Yeah. Nasty.
Somebody sent us, it is bleak.
Nasty business. Because I feel like it's been pretty good in the past, right?
We've talked about it
in the past and it's been not bad.
Dude, there was one year where we talked about flying you out here to go.
Yeah.
Because it was like a bunch of great bands and shit like that.
Yeah.
This year is fucking brutal, man. It's so we'll start with Friday. Breaking Benjamin, The Offspring, and Chevelle are your headliners.
Great.
That's fucking great. First of all, Breaking Benjamin, I guess, has I don't know.
I mean, they got pretty big. Like, Breaking Ben got pretty big.
Yeah. Then they got Machine Head and Bad Wolves. POD's not on here, by the way. I was really hoping POD was on here so that I could be like, oh, there they are.
There they are.
But they got Seven Dust on Saturday night. Seven Dust, Hollywood Undead, and Killswitch Engage. Two bands that we have covered on here. And Killswitch Engage, which do not like. Your miles may vary.
Do not like Killswitch Engage.
See, I thought 50-50 on you and Killswitch Engage because they're the other music that came after that.
Hate the guy's voice.
And then finally, this is terrible. This is as bad as it gets. Their Sunday night schedule,
and usually Sunday night is like that's the big closer, baby.
Well, it's cool because they made it so you could just leave on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because the headliners are Sleeping with Sirens, which I don't even know. No clue. Dan's shaking his head too. Nobody knows what that is.
Okay.
Or no, Dan said they suck. He thumbs down.
Yeah,
okay, so he knows. Skillet, which a band I want to cover on this show so bad. So
nasty band.
And then finally, the Dropkick Murphys.
Oh God!
Like,
what a weird collection. You've got like Christian rock, Dropkick Murphys, whatever you want to call that, Boston drunk rock, and then some band I've never heard of that probably sounds like Bring Me the Horizon, I'm guessing, based on the band name.
I'm looking them up, right? They're Ohio guys.
Sure.
Oh, get out of here. Yeah, dude. Oh, okay, never mind. It says they're playing Mansfield. They're playing Mansfield, Ohio, July 19th, and then the 21st, and then the 27th, they're playing Columbus. So they're in like a 1 hour kind of area, but I've never heard of this band. Maybe they're good or whatever.
I doubt it.
I'm trying to guess. I'm trying to figure out what kind of music it is, though. They don't have a Wikipedia page. So that is my news.
How are they headlining then? Just because they're local? Or are they like huge?
I don't think they're local, actually. I think I fucked up there. I think they're Nashville band.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Still.
Let me look. Let me try it like this. Okay. Sleeping with Sirens is, here it is. Here it is. Sleeping with Sirens is an American rock band from Orlando, Florida, currently residing in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Weird move to make, but I guess there's not much in Orlando.
But also like Grand Rapids, that's not the that's good.
I think it's a cool city, actually. Michigan has a few cities that you're like Lansing, that is like really fucking cool that people don't know about or whatever. But
yeah.
Genres. Here we are. Post-hardcore, pop rock, pop punk, alternative rock, metalcore, emo. Probably a metalcore. So they're that
like Bring Me the Horizon, Motionless in White, Sphere.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Incarceration is maybe. And this year, I don't know what's going on this year.
Poopy.
But Sick New World was also a big thumbs down.
Very bad lineups.
What's going on with rock and roll this year? I think, although Sonic Temple is a show we should have gone to.
Yeah,
that
was like a sick lineup.
That show was great, but it's pretty bleak if you're looking to go to a heavy metal festival this year. The 2024 lineup of Sonic Temple was fucking Slipknot, the original Misfits, Disturbed, Pantera, Evanescence, Limp Bizkit, Judas Priest, Stained. Like, that is a fucking show. And like, listen, I'm reading these. There's 8. Breaking Benjamin is slated at number 9 in the list,
and maybe the biggest band on the Incarceration.
So that was my news. Oh, Cypress Hill's touring. What?
My speaking of live shows, we haven't talked about this on the P.O.D. cast yet, but I went to Belfast, Ireland. I saw Limp Bizkit play an outdoor show for probably 30,000 people, and I met Fred Durst.
Yeah, you didn't ask him to do the show, but I understand. You get a little nervous when you're around a superstar like that.
I mean, Bryan, let's be fair. You wouldn't have even asked him for a picture.
Brother, I would have tried not to look at him.
It was really funny because, and I'm sure people, didn't really think of this too seriously, but it was funny to have people oh, did you ask him to be on the P.O.D. cast? It's like, I couldn't imagine a worse thing in my life to put on Fred Durst, to be like, hey, nice to meet you. I have a nu metal podcast. That is what an awful sentence to speak to Fred. I would have never said that to him.
I mean, you could, if you're going to do it, you just send something to his publicist or whatever. That's how you get these guys on the show. You don't just ask them
totally
if you meet them. Like, I mean,
if it was like a weird situation, like, okay, if it was something where I'm in a bar and Fred's sitting at the bar drinking by himself or something, and then I go up and I'm like, hey, can I buy you a drink? We're chatting, whatever. Then, okay, maybe. But just to like meet a guy, and I met him in the airport.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, I have a nu metal podcast also, by the way.
I can't think of anything. He would think you're the biggest dork on the planet.
100% he would. Like, yeah. Absolutely. It would just be a nightmare. So no, I did not burden Fred with the knowledge that I have a nu metal podcast, but I did meet him. He was cordial. I wouldn't say he was like thrilled, but
we're in an airport.
Well, exactly. And we overheard
first class.
Yeah, he was. His guitar tech was on our flight, and he said that it was a 20-hour travel day for them. So I can also understand. They were going from Santa Fe, New Mexico to Belfast.
Yeah, so that's a long. My longest travel day, as people know, is like 12 hours, I think, and I was a menace on that.
Yeah, totally.
That was when I was like pooping in the bathroom and all that stuff. Like, it's hard to fly far. I'm actually, flying out to Vancouver, and like it's a 7-hour travel day, and I'm already like, oh fuck, I'm gonna need a nap. Like, just thinking about traveling to the other side of the world. But yeah, I mean, how was the show though?
The show was amazing. The show was really good. Like, it was. First of all, I will say we just talked about Eurovision on our bonus episode, but like seeing shows in Europe is awesome. Like, the European crowds are just, I feel like with North American crowds, there is always just this element of kind of posturing, or like, I've got to seem cool and whatever. And like the Irish crowd was just going nuts. Like, and it was just so fun. Like, the vibe was just so fun. People were wearing costumes. I saw people with had custom made red hats with like the Yankees logo on the front and the Limp Bizkit logo on the back. There was like a whole group of girls that were dressed like the girls in the Nookie video. It was just like, people got super pumped for the show. It was a blast. I mean, they're and we've said this on the show before, you and I have both seen them back in the day. Like, they're very good musicians. Like, Wes and Sam and John Otto are very good musicians, and they're so tight. Like, the songs live are so tight. And I think just also like Limp Bizkit, they know what they are. They're just kind of like a party band. They're there to have a good time. Like, DJ Lethal was dropping like funny songs in between. Like, Fred was like, everybody's got a slow dance. And like DJ Lethal played Careless Whisper. And then like a bunch of people were slow dancing in the crowd. They both started and finished the set with break stuff, which is hilarious.
But that's what they're supposed to do.
Totally. And that's the thing, is like, there's no ego about them in terms of that. Like, they know what they're there for. They played one song off of Still Sucks. Like, it wasn't like they were, and they did play Gold Cobra, which I thought was really funny.
I love that song though. That's a good song.
Oh yeah, it's a great song. But it was just like, they played all the hits. Like, the set list was pretty much perfect. It was a little short. It was a outdoor show, so there was a curfew. So I would have liked to hear, it was only I think they played 13 or 14 songs. But they didn't play Rearranged, and they didn't play Counterfeit. But then after that, there wasn't really like anything on the set list you would have felt like you missed out on. Like, they just played the hits. Fred is funny. They had good stage banter. They were tight. The crowd was like, it was just a really good vibe. And like, Europe just do everything so much better. Like we were out of the show. There was 30,000 people in this park, and we got out of there in like 3 minutes because they had so many exits out of the venue. It was so orderly, streamlined. And then they were running buses from downtown Belfast out to the venue that you could take. And they were just special for the concert. Every 4 minutes, there was a bus going from downtown to the Limp Bizkit show. No stops. Just you pick it up here in downtown. It goes you right to the show. And then, so we get out of the venue and we were like, we were about a 40-minute walk from our hotel. So we were like, we might have to walk back.
You could do the 40-minute walk. Come on.
Well, man. Yeah, totally. But we were like, we could walk back if the line for the bus is really long. And then it wasn't, like, because the buses are coming every 4 minutes. So we walked out of the show, and within 10 minutes of the show being over, we were on a bus going back to downtown. Like, it was just, everything about it was perfect. And yeah, I met Fred Durst, and it was great.
It was so cool when you sent the picture of you with Fred Durst. That was very, I was pretty jealous. I told the story about the time I talked to him in like the early 2000s that he kept telling us that he was going to play us White Pony.
Right. Because he said that he had like an advanced copy of it, right?
We're like, I was like, it's such a dick thing to say to a guy. Have you heard White Pony? He's like, yeah. And
you just asked him?
Yeah. I wanted to fucking hear it. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure. Yeah.
He's like, wait here. I'll play it when I get back. And then he never came back out of the truck. And we stood there for like, I don't know how long we stood there, but like, I think about it now and it's funny. At the time, I was like, man, what a fucking asshole. What a sellout. And it's like, I'm being annoying as hell, asking you if I can listen to something that he didn't have.
No,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
He didn't have that because it's interesting. I just watched a 2-part documentary about, it's called How Music Was Freed.
Oh, yeah.
It was about it's by LeBron James and
I didn't know that was out. I got to watch that because I read the book and the book is amazing.
Yeah. The thing is really good. It's pretty good, but like they got Fred Durst popping on there talking about like they're just sharing stuff. He did everything right at that time.
Oh yeah, they did free shows with Napster.
Radiohead. Foo Fighters. Like they were all on the right side. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that was like the era of when I was asking if he had it, and that was also the era where they were like, there's one copy of this, nobody gets it.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And
no way he heard White Pony.
Yeah,
It was specifically like at Chino's house.
Right. White Pony was leaked.
Right.
Sure.
That's true.
I could tell you the names of the songs that leaked. It wasn't the whole album, but there was, I think Digital Bath was maybe called Night Rider. There were like a few, there were songs that I didn't know that they had new name. Fatisiera was something else. I don't remember what it was, but I was listening to that album probably 2 months before it came out, but not in the right order or anything. It was just a bunch of songs showed up, but yeah, they weren't like handing their friends copies of CDs and saying, hey, go ahead and listen to it. When like somebody on a bus could steal the fucking thing. Fred's not going to give it to anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? But fucking have some weird person on the bus, which I'm sure when you have a tour bus, there's always some weird person on the bus. It's like I did that one tour and I was like, we rented this house and I was just like, no, you're not allowed to bring anybody back to this house. Because there were like 12 of us on tour. I just was like, that's my sanctuary. I don't want you to bring anybody back to this house. And then we met with DB and he brought a guy back to the house that kept wanting to watch Fish videos, but and Grateful Dead stuff. So that was kind of fucked up. But yeah, I assume that buses, unless you have a specific rule, there's weirdos on them all the fucking time, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like you, when you met him at the airport interrupting a man on a 20. 20-hour flight. You're just bothering this fucking guy.
He was waiting for his bags. That was the only reason I did it. I said to Becca, I was like, because I saw him in London first, and I could have bugged him in London, and I didn't. And I said to Becca, I was like, if we get off the plane and he is waiting for his luggage, I will ask him for a picture because he has nowhere else to be. Like,
I'd have been nervous as hell.
I mean, I didn't feel good about it, but I was like, whatever. Fred is on the very short list of guys that I would get a picture with in my life. And I was just like, if he's waiting for his luggage, he's got nowhere else to be, whatever. And so, that was the only reason I did it. If he was like in a rush or even at Heathrow, like I did not bother him. There was no way.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was playing with it. I would have never asked because I'm just a nervous guy. I'm afraid to ask people to do a podcast. And I have to have a guest every week for my show, I'm afraid. That's so cool though. And like, it sounds to me like in Europe, they don't make going to a concert a miserable, hellish experience. That seems nice.
It was fucking perfect. It was awesome. That's
why I don't go.
Really good time. Yeah.
But I don't go to concerts anymore because they make it so. I mean, I'll go see something if it grabs me, but the getting in and the leaving at concerts and also the way the venue treats you is just the worst, the dirt worst. Like,
oh yeah,
the worst service you could possibly ever get is at a especially a metal concert.
They had one staff member whose job it was to tell you like which porta potty to use. Like they had like women's and men's, and he was like, women's are over here, men's are over here. Like, and that was his whole job for the whole night. Like they had people for everything. It was mind blowing in that way. I was like, I want every concert I go to be like this.
We have guys here that their whole job is to say, you're not allowed to stand there. You're not allowed to stand there. Like, where they just scream at you all the time.
Yeah. So
no matter where you're standing, that's like, I always, and I haven't been to prison, but you watch those movies and stuff where like they're getting people in prison. I always feel like that's what walking into a concert is like. Going to a concert is more akin to like going through the TSA now than it is like just going to the movies.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, absolutely.
Because I've been this year, John, I'm like all about just going to sports because they I don't know why. I go to minor league baseball games. We've been going to a lot of them. They let you bring a water bottle in there. They don't. Hurt you.
They're thrilled you're there.
They're
so happy you're there. They're like, you do whatever you got to do. They're
good. Doing gimmicks. They're allowed to bring food in. And it's just like, this is a wonderful experience. Yeah. And I think we're going to a crew game this year and see what that's like. But going to concerts in the United States and probably Canada.
Oh, yeah. Same.
I mean, Forbidden Door, when I went last year in Toronto, was great. Like, it didn't bother me at all. It wasn't, they did seem a little less aggro. Right. Then here it's just, I see it all the time because I walk by the venue that a lot of the metal bands play. And as I'm walking by, there's a person walking up and down the line yelling at people to like, be ready, have the stuff out of your pockets and all this stuff. It's like, fuck, dude, it's a concert. You're in a state where guys are carrying guns everywhere anyway. Who do you think you're going to fucking find? A gun? Everywhere you go, there's a gun. But that's Ohio.
It's very scary.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
I am very happy that
Thank you. Feeling great. Let's talk about Nerd.
I don't want to do that.